Our retail group Clicks has been taken to the Equality Court for carrying a discriminatory ad on their website. Now, the advert shows 4 women, 2 of them being black women and the other 2 white women, and compares the quality of their hair. The campaign has angered the EFF members who have been out in full force today, as you have seen, and they're protesting at various Clicks stores around the country. Joining us now is Rehana Khan Parker, who is a concerned consumer. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us this afternoon, Rehana. Now, you have called this ad as a classic example of racial stereotyping. Tell us more about this.
Thank you very much. At first blush, if one looks at the ad, many people just do not see the racial stereotyping and the bias and the undercurrents and the unconscious bias. So I have to take viewers back to the pencil test case, which was very prevalent under apartheid, where pencils were stuck into people's hair to determine whether, how you would be racially classified. And on Facebook, there's been various people who, in fact, responded to the remembrance of the horrible past of those pencil test case, where people were then classified according to their textures of their hair. So when it comes to racial profiling, and especially when one looks at these 4 advertisements and one places them alongside each other, it smacks and as a reminder of the bias that was against people as a result of the texture of their hair. So it does not sit well at all. The problem with the advertisements are that there were 4 images, 2 of purportedly black women with dull, damaged and dry hair, and then of 2 white women with flat, sleek and normal hair. And if one reads into that, it gives you a story that if you do not want to have frizzy, black, damaged hair, the ideal is to have sleek, blonde, normal hair. And it's then associated with color, blonde being normal, and then the images that are being used. So it's very subtle, and one needs to understand how the mind is conscientized into thinking. Now remember, the target market that we are talking about here in this advert appears to be targeting black women, because it shows up black women with having dull, damaged and coarse hair. It doesn't show a white woman with dull and damaged hair. And if it had done that, then, of course, the advert would not have sparked such an outrage. If it had been 2 white women and with a before and after, a white woman's image saying, this is dull, dry, frizzy hair, a white woman's hair with blonde, and then a post-advert showing the sleek, natural, blonde, normal hair, and the same type of classification for a woman, a black woman with coarse, dry, damaged hair, and then a woman of color, a black woman with sleek, normal, straight hair. Then I would have understand how products could be used to achieve those looks. But that is not what these adverts do. The adverts purely places black women, and it then gives one the stereotyping that it's only black women who in fact have this hair, and that white women do not have this kind of hair, and that it's normal for white women to have normal hair, and it's not normal for black women to not have normal hair. Yet many women on Facebook have come out and in fact showed us that black women can have straight hair, black women can have healthy hair, and that white women and people with blonde hair can have damaged hair. So it's those kind of undertones. It's very subtle. And if you look at that holistic picture, it perpetuates a racial stereotyping. We've come out of a Women in Law report where we dealt with diversity and the unconscious bias. This is a prime example of an unconscious bias. And if we allow and permit the perpetuation of this kind of bias then it becomes a bias which is accepted and it becomes normalized and nobody bats an eye.
Now, now clicks, Rehana, is being taken to the Equality Court. Tell us more about this action.
Okay, so let me just step back that we have issued a letter to Clicks. It's a 5-page letter from concerned consumers setting out all our issues that concern us. And a large component of that, aside from the unconscious bias, is the lack of inclusion and diversity, which we are questioning within its structures. Because how did this advert pass the various levels from conceptualization to execution? We have also lodged a complaint against the advertising regulatory body, it's the AERB. They've come back to us and they've said that because Clicks has withdrawn the advert and have issued an apology, they do not have teeth to take the matter further. That now leaves us squarely with how do we protect consumers from such unacceptable, unethical advertising. We do not believe that a bland, empty apology by Clicks or Tresemme/Unilever is sufficient. We believe that we need answers on the deeper issues that concerns us. We are at present consulting with our legal team to take the steps further and to pursue the action in the Equality Court.
Concerned consumers here, it seems to me that a lot of the focus is on Clicks and not as much on Unilever. Tresemme is one of the brands under a Unilever, because it's actually a Unilever, it's a Tresemme ad that was also then found on Clicks platforms. Should there not also be equal heat and equal pressure on Unilever, and focusing on the issues that you mentioned here, the issues of diversity, the issues of lack of inclusion in advertising and in marketing teams around the country?
Absolutely, Thami, and that's part of what the legal team will look at. Remember that these advertisements were placed on the Clicks website. That is where I saw it. So we held, at the time that we wrote the letter, we held Clicks accountable for approving material which falls short of acceptable advertising content. Clicks, in turn, then issued an apology and with a link to the Tresemme website, where Tresemme then, it appears to be indemnifying Clicks from the use of the actual material, which we see it as being forwarded from Tresemme/Unilever to Clicks. So yes, that we will certainly be pursuing in addressing our application to both Tresemme South Africa as well as Clicks. Both of them are accountable and need to explain to us how did this jump the loops.
Wow, well, thank you so much for your insight, and looking forward to seeing how that particular case moves forward. There are certainly pertinent conversations for the country to be having as far as consciousness and sensitivity is concerned. Thank you very much there. That's Rehana Khan Parker, concerned consumer.